Greece is well known for its mythology. Because of the fame spread by many authors, movie makers, and historians on the gods of ancient Greece, the stories of the three brothers watching over the world with its council of other gods on a peak of Mount Olympus is something engraved into the minds of many people today. However, with more going on with Greece's politics, we are slowly forgetting the actual things that used to make Greece, Greece.
Believe it or not, Greece was and is more than just yogurt and stone temples. In fact, it is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. It was founded around 270,000 BC, or approximately the Stone Age, and thrived all the way to modern day today. However, it wasn't until the 5th century BCE that the era known as Classical Greece came into play. The term Classical Greece refers to the 200-year period between the Persian Wars at the beginning of the 5th century BC and the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC. Even until the middle of the 5th century BCE, Athens and Sparta coexisted peacefully. However, the political and cultural disposition of the two city-states occupied the opposite ends of the spectrum, so that it was only natural that they would clash eventually. Sparta was a closed society led by two kings and occupying the harsh southern end of the Peloponnesus. It was run based off of its powerful military that protected Sparta from enemies and also kept discipline within its walls. Athens, on the other hand, was an adventurous, open society governed by a democratic government that thrived through commercial activity.
This period was mostly an era of war and conflict, first between the Greeks and the Persians, then between the Athenians and the Spartans. But it was also an era of great political and cultural achievement. From the chaos of all these wars, classical Greece brought us the historian Herodotus, the physician Hippocrates, and the philosopher Socrates. It also brought us the political reforms that are ancient Greece's most notable political contributions, the system known as democratia, or rule by the people. The time of Pericles' reign on Athens was a time for advancement in Greek architecture, literature, and philosophy. Athens became a center of art, culture, and democracy. Many artists and masters of the creative arts saw the city as an enlivening atmosphere for work. Under Pericles, the building of the Acropolis and the Parthenon started. These buildings are famous for their architectural styles. The world-renowned Greek columns were used in the building of the Parthenon, and many other aspects of the Parthenon gave idea to the building of many great buildings all over the world that are still standing today. One example would be the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C.
The thinkers of this era have since dominated thought for thousands of years. In fact, their teaching and thoughts are still considered and used today in many aspects of life. Through his ideas, Hippocrates became the father of modern medicine, and his Hippocratic oath is still used today. His oath consisted of a few lines that physicians use to swear that they will treat the ill to the best of their ability.
I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow. I will apply, for the benefit of the sick, all measures which are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism. I will remember that there is no art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say I know not, nor will I fail to call in my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for a patient's recovery. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me that the world may know. Most especially must I tread with care in matters of life and death. If it is given to me to save a life, all thanks, but it may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. I will remember that I do not treat a fever chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being whose illness may affect the person's family and economic stability. My responsibility includes those related problems if I am to care adequately for the sick. I will prevent disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. I will remember that I remain a member of society with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body, as well as the infirm. If I do not violate this oath, may I enjoy life and art, respected while I live and remembered with affection thereafter. May I always act so as to preserve the finest traditions of my calling, and may I long experience the joy of healing those who seek my help.
Greek theater started around 700 BC and were originally made to glorify the gods, specifically to glorify Dionysus, the Greek god of wine. As performance, men dressed up in goat skins and sang. These usually happened in festivals for these gods. Tribes would get together, get drunk, and compete against each other in these plays. Whichever tribe had the best performance would only get the honor of winning. 3 well-known playwriters of this time were Sophocles, Euripides, and Aeschylus. These people focused on tragedies, a form of Greek play that consisted of an introduction, exposition, and exodus. Comedy is also said to be an important part of Greek theater. The origins of comedy are unknown and are said to be consisting of imitations. All comedies during this time were written by Aristophanes.